everybody has that opportunity to sit and think, I have a book inside of me that that can come to fruition. Not all of us can say that, right? But she is going to have a book that is going to be published earlier this next year. And so with that, I would like to welcome Lori Wood to the stage.
Good morning. I want to warn you right off the bat that my testimony today is not that God answered my prayer or the prayer of others on my behalf. My testimony today is that He didn't, at least not in the time or in the way I expected Him to. Silence can be uncomfortable. I've learned that's especially true when it comes to silence from God. In 2015, after visiting my family doctor with what I thought was the flu, I spent 14 days in cardiac ICU at Mercy. With no risk factors and no family history, I was suddenly diagnosed with end-stage heart failure from an unknown cause. My enlarged heart was functioning at just 6%. Optimistic doctors gave me a 5-year life expectancy, and we received sympathetic tears from nearly every medical professional we encountered. I was flown to Cleveland Clinic and became my doctor's most critical patient for 16 months. During that time, I wore a life vest, which is an external defibrillator, and I titrated potent medications to their maximum dosages. I was eventually implanted with an internal defibrillator and pacemaker, and then we waited to see if I would hit transplant status as experts expected. My life was suddenly ripped into 2 parts, pre-diagnosis and post-diagnosis. Pre-diagnosis, I was healthy. I talked to God and He seemed to guide me. Post-diagnosis, none of that happened, at least not at first. The God I thought I knew seemed indifferent and remote. And I often gave Him the silent treatment right back. Thankfully, hundreds, mostly in this community, prayed for me around the clock. And when I couldn't find words to pray, I journaled. Then, against all medical odds, my heart function was initially restored on March 27, 2017. But that year and a half, when I heard nothing but silence from God, I learned 2 important lessons. Lesson number 1, the power of prayer is not in an immediate resolution, but rather in an enduring relationship. And that's so we will learn to put Him above our requests. Prayer has gradually shifted my focus. I'm not seeking so much temporary relief from suffering now as I am a permanent relationship with my Savior. In the words of the most Spirit-led person I know, my husband, I'm trading what I can't keep for something I can never lose. Lesson number 2, pauses produce perspective. I'm starting to more fully understand the words of Jesus from John 13:7, where He said, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." My own journal entry speaks to this. The entry is entitled, "What a Long-Term Perspective Has Revealed." It says, my husband and I did not internalize how fragile I was at the beginning. My cardiologist told us a year later that on that first day in 2015, as I sat in my closet out of breath trying to put my socks on, I was about to die. We never panicked that I was the most critical patient at the head of the transplant center at the top heart hospital in the nation for over a year. We have been protected from every increased medication dosage. Doctors said I would never be able to handle even half of the meds. Fellow patients said the side effects were debilitating. We experienced none of that. We have been protected from the emotional devastation that every heart failure patient and every cardiac professional and every media source warned us about. We've never lost hope. We never thought we would lose the battle. This is truly the peace that passes understanding at work. We would never have felt it without the 16-month wait. Based on journals like that, I started blogging and writing articles to help others hold on to their faith. Last year, I finished a book that's been inside me all my adult life. I may never have given myself the time or the urgency to do it in a safer, healthier life. A few months ago, I signed a contract with a publisher, and my book will release in early 2023. But my story is not fully written. 3 years after my life-saving surgery, my heart function dropped, and I was in active heart failure again. You see, heart failure is a chronic, progressive disease. For most, medical science can manage the symptoms. For some, they can slow the progression, but there is no cure. So I am anticipating encountering God's silence again in response to future prayers. You should too. But on those quiet days, I will remember everything I've learned, that pauses have purpose, and that relationship overshadows results. And I will recall this inscription found on the wall of a World War II concentration camp cellar. I believe in the sun, even when it's not shining. I believe in love, even when there's no one there. And I believe in God, even when He is silent. Thank you.